Kia ora. Welcome to Module 2 of the One Tower Kung Fu Teacher Training modules. Got a bit of a head cold today, so the energy might be a little lower than usual, but it's an opportunity to surrender and let go, because this session's all about intention. And my intention is many intentions I guess, is to celebrate and have gratitude for the opportunity to discuss this and present it. And I look forward to, I'll try and make it a bit more of a dialogue, because it's a very interesting one, intention, and just go from there. So just referring to my notes, because I'll blame it on the head cold, but that's not taking responsibility, so I'll just use them to refer back to. So I appreciate your patience while I look up and down. So the power of intention is the module 2, and there's many different martial arts out there, and you may have done ones that focus a lot on the physical element of it, whereas our One Tower Kung Fu system really is led by a higher intention. Now you could call that you could call it God. You could call it it's Easter this weekend, so you could call it Christ. You could call it Buddha. You could call it the universe. You could call it the divine matrix. You could basically any idea that we've constructed in this world that provides an aim to something higher and something greater and something that's more nourishing and loving and abundant than sort of other things. And we'll discuss power and force at some part in this, but yeah, it's essentially a guiding star. I think what Bruce Lee said, was it? So if when you're pointing at the moon, if you're focused on the finger, you'll miss the glorious of the moon behind it. So our style of Kung Fu is very much focused on the intention, which is a link and a bridge between the martial component of it and the spiritual element of it, or meditative element to it. And considering the first form, Sunim Tower, is small thought, that small thought, you go, well, what is it? What is a small thought? And the more I contemplate that, the more it's really, may not necessarily be a thought, but it might be a witness of a thought and an idea in alignment to be your North Star, your guiding compass. As you navigate the roller coaster of this world, there's days when there's days that are challenging, the days that are not so challenging, and I guess I'm just conscious of language, because how we frame that up and we express it is generally done by the language we choose to articulate those thoughts with. And thoughts can either be the cage you lock yourself up in, or the cage you free yourself from. So we've got Wing Chun has you've kind of got two pathways you can go down Wing Chun. You can go down the external pathway, being like muscle and structure, and the physics of it, being a straight line for the punches. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. We're not talking about a parabolic curve where you get acceleration down there. That's a Mythbuster example. That might refer to the quickest, but we're talking about the shortest distance. Then you've got, in our Kung Fu, triangles and circles, so two of the strongest structures in physics. But then when you add I guess spirituality and intention into it, then you start to go from purely physical concepts to more, your abstract concepts. So Dr. David Hawkins articulates this in Power versus Force, and essentially there's a logarithmic scale from all the way from shame to enlightenment, and he mapped out how you can get there through applied kinesiology or kinesiology muscle testing, and force is below a level of 200. That includes anger, desire, grief, guilt, range of those other forceful downward ones, and force can be considered as something that is not really sustainable and requires effort and energy to do. And then you come to power, which is above 200. So things like courage, abundance, love, joy, unconditional love, peace, etc. Check it out, Dr. David Hawkins' Power versus Force. So that's an underpinning element of our One Tao Kung Fu system here. So we'll go into the types of intention. So we've got spiritual and highest intention, life intention, and training and martial intention. Now, I think I've covered the spiritual intention, highest intention, and it's a choice. You can choose whichever one works for you. There's times where I've gone through and just taken the word and felt into each word to see what one aligns with, gives me a good feeling or something a bit more tangible that I can then surrender and release the word and just sit in that vibration, that feeling. And it also then helps align to the field. Now, if you've seen any work from Dr. Joe Dispenza or Greg Braden or a range of other elements, and if you've seen the really awesome image of quantum entanglement recently that's just been published, quantum entanglement essentially looks like this. So whenever this Tao symbol came about, perhaps they knew about quantum mechanics way back then. That's another rabbit hole. Basically, in our Kung Fu, we align to a highest intention, which is aligning to a high power. Nicholas Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, understand the energy, frequency, and vibration. I paraphrase that poorly, but you get the picture. Then you've got life intention. Now, life intention, we've done work with the Life Book, and it basically has your to 12 different areas, something like that, 13 different areas: career, health, wealth, spirituality, relationships, personal, all these sorts of things. And it's a way of tapping into that highest intention, and then how that then flows into all of those different areas of your life, which essentially make how you kind of show up and are in the world. And then we talk about martial intention. So what is it? What is in a practical perspective? How do we take the spiritual side of it, the more abstract side of it, and put it into practical ways? So if you're training with yourself, for example, by yourself, and you've got a dummy, you can put your spiritual and you can intention into here and say, well, my spiritual intention is love and peace, and I'm going to stay in this, and I'm going to then engage with the dummy that way. If you've got you're training with a partner, you could go, well, I'm going to stay in my spiritual intention. That's the first, the primary, so to speak. And then you will work in defense, or you will work on attack, or you will go towards their center, so it's about how you then use that in the world, so how you then take action in your practice. So looking at going back to intention, I believe it's desire thoughts and thought desires in one of the books, whether it's Dr. David Hawkins' books, I think it is. But anyway, so if you desire something, that's generally coming back to the force element to it. So it's the wanting of something, and the wanting of something indicates that you are want it because you don't have it. So therefore you're coming from a place of lack. And a place of lack, a place of scarcity is forceful. Whereas you have where your intention is more of you're already in it, you're already being it, it has already happened. Therefore, what happens next in this thing we've constructed called time, the next now will be of closer to that higher vibrational content. So the desire is something like I want creates separation and struggle. That lack, and the intention I am creates the embodiment and the flow. So that's that abundance versus lack element to it. Lots of books out there around about abundance. A lot of you could think you're abundant, but the way that you actually internally talk to yourself from your inner critic, or the way that you actually act in the world could be coming from a place of lack. This could be financial, is probably one of the big ones, maybe health. But it's important that you sit and you meditate that on that and become aware and see where what programs you've got running in the background. So essentially that is that comes to the state is what we train in this art. Starts essentially with your highest intention, and it is a way that we go about and aim to do our forms, do our looks out, our chess out, our sparring, our practicing in that state of being. And then how you then go about the world, you come to your class, if you go to your class and you do training, or you do it in a room, or you're a park, or wherever you do your training, and then when you finish your training, do you walk back to your car or whatever, and do you drop out of that state, or do you maintain awareness and stay in that state? So then it becomes like a contemplative lifestyle. So meditative, when you'd sit, for example, and meditate, and you'd be meditating on something, but then as you go out and you be in the world, it's more contemplative of being aware and looking at the context of what you're trying to do, but maintaining the content of what you're trying to do, but maintaining the context of that spiritual intention and that alignment and staying in power. Because you can mow the lawns being grumpy, going, I hate the lawns whatsoever, or you can mow the lawns and be appreciative and grateful for the feeling of the grass on your feet, the smell of cut grass, the smell of fresh air, all those sorts of things. So there's lots out there. It is infinitely abundant. It's just what you choose to attune to, being what your intention is, and that will attract what you put out, what you vibe. So from a kung fu perspective, the way to test that, we do you can do standing meditations, or you can do exercises, and essentially the body is stronger and more powerful when it comes from a place of power, as opposed to comes from a place of force. So you can ways that you can do that in a practical application with a training partner. You can think of backtrack. So you've got in Wing Chun, you've got essentially muscular force, structure being your bones and your joints, and then you've got power, or as we call it, the state. And each one of those works holistically, but the state encompasses the structure, and the muscular activity encompasses everything in your body. We are more space than we are matter. If you look at atoms and protons and neutrons, all in that, there is more space inside those areas than there is matter. But yet, I guess, is it consciousness and awareness that makes things appear? Particle versus wave. When you put your consciousness on it, it turns into a particle. Anyway, that's physics, and we'll go into that maybe in a later video. So what you can do with your partner is you can get them to, say, for a Tan Sao, and you can hold on to their Tan Sao or any movement, the side slash, or just even their arm, and then you can get them to think of something something not so nice, whether it's a food they don't like, or whether it's something in history that they don't like, whatever, something that's not a good feeling, right? And feel how, using muscular force that reacts, then structural movement, so you're moving your bones, and then in state. And if you want to learn more about how that works in that state, check out the link in the video, or down below actually, and we train online, so you can do your Kung Fu training anywhere in the world. And then from that position, you can then change to a higher intention. Now, if you needed to, if it was sticky and that was quite visceral for you, if that's the right word, you can thump the thymus gland. So the thymus gland is about just below, just about here, and then you thump it like this, ha ha ha, and that clears your energy, and then you can go into your highest attention. Think about something beautiful, or whatever image comes to mind when you attune to that, and then do those exercises again. So muscular, structural, and then state, and witness, observe what you feel and what you find. I'd say that all of those movements, muscular, structure, and state, done with a powerful spiritual intention, will be more powerful and easier than the one done in a forceful element. Conscious of time, wrapping it up to 17 minutes past. It's not really 17 minutes past, it's 17 minutes on the clock. Energy in the body. Dr. Joe Dispenza has a lot of work on this, but basically aligning with your highest spiritual intention makes you lighter, makes you less matter, makes you less dense. And that for an internal martial art like Wing Chun, our One Tao Kung Fu, Wing Chun, that you see that when you're rolling, when you're sparring and you're chi sauing. And the Dr. David Hawkins' work on letting go, that plays a big part in here, because when you find yourself dense or in those forceful emotions, you can undertake the letting go process, and so you can dissolve the blockages that are prohibiting you. I don't know if that's the right saying for it, but dissolve the blockages to help you become more energetic and lighter. And then you can also witness anything that you're resisting to going higher. So you might have resistance to gratitude, you might have resistance to abundance, and that gives you an opportunity to witness those and then surrender and let them go. Because surrendering is a tool. So a key one for intention is alignment with spiritual intention, and then surrender and letting go all the resistance that keeps you from that higher vibration. So essentially, wrapping it up, your intention is a way that you can go about and be in this world. It is completely within your control, your power. You have an opportunity to show up, take responsibility, and choose how you feel. Sifu says you've got one job, and that's to feel good. Obviously, there's caveats with that. You're feeling good in you're not harming anyone, you're not doing damage to other people or yourself, but choosing to feel good. You can go for a walk and you can choose to be grumpy or sad, and that's okay, but you can also choose to feel good. And the more you sit in awareness and move in awareness, you will observe those emotional and those frequency differences, and you'll become better and more adept at releasing and surrendering and realigning with your spiritual intention. So I guess the takeaway from this video is to just go, what's your spiritual intention, and are you aligned to it, and being aware and taking that throughout your day, and getting better at being in alignment with that spiritual intention in every moment and every day on the journey and the eternal now. It's over to you. Thanks.